Like on Podcasters tonight, we were planning on including this interview with a whole bunch of other TS19 stuff, and then some scheduling issues kind of got in the way. So the three of us are jumping on, and we're going to do some stuff, and then we're going to run the interview, and then next week we will have TS19 Part 2, and that will include all of the voicemails and emails that we've been holding on to for the finale. So again, fret not. I know we promised it would be this week, but the interview kind of changed things around, which is great. We're very happy to have it. You guys did a great job, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
And that means our listeners have a whole extra week to get in their comments about TS19.
Yeah, and the season in general. I mean, at this point, I would say next week will be our final season 1 wrap up. We'll cover TS19 feedback, and we'll cover any other feedback that you might have for the season, and we'll talk about what we're going to do in the off season.
Because we've got some big stuff planned. So
yeah. I mean, we made some great contacts, and we're hoping that these surprise interviews will kind of become regular. So please stay on and keep subscribed for the off season.
And I've also noticed that AMC has been still semi-regularly showing the episodes. So if you didn't get a chance to see them the first time, or if you want to watch them again, you missed out on DVRing them or whatever, you should be able to catch them again. We'd love your comments on second or third viewings too.
Also, they're rerunning the entire first 3 seasons of Breaking Bad at the moment to get people up to speed in time for season 4. If you have not checked out Breaking Bad, one of the best shows on television, if not some of the episodes. One episode last season was literally the best hour television I've ever seen. So check it out.
So what kind of news do we have since the last time? I guess things are kind of winding down at this point, but I know a couple of things had come out. Didn't they, Jordan?
Sure. Well, first off, AFI, you're familiar with the American Film Institute, of course. They put out their top lists for every year. They have their 100 best movies of all time. They're big on top whatever lists. They have released their top movies, television, and special awards of the year. And this year, the top television programs are The Big C, Boardwalk Empire, Breaking Bad, Glee, Mad Men, Modern Family, The Pacific, Temple Grandin, 30 Rock, and The Walking Dead. So all 3 of AMC's big shows showing up on the best programs of the year list.
That's really cool. I'm just happy. Listen, we knew we were going to love it. We knew the people that were into the comic book, supernatural horror genre were going to love it. But the general TV audience and the critics love it, which is it blows me away.
I should also point out it's last on that list, but it's also an alphabetical list. So for anyone going, why is it so low on the top list of the shows of the year? It's alphabetical. Alphabetical. Please line up alphabetically in accordance with your height. Our second bit of news is that the Writers Guild of America, the WGA, has released their nominations for WGA awards. And for this year, their new series nominations are Boardwalk Empire, Justified, Men of a Certain Age, Treme, and The Walking Dead. So give it up to Walking Dead there for their nomination. Hopefully they'll win that one.
I really like Justified.
Justified's a good show as well.
I haven't thought about it in a long time. Is that starting up relatively soon? It must be.
I'm trying to think when last season started. It ran over summer, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
So it'll probably show up around May-ish. But yeah, that's good as well. I haven't checked out Boardwalk Empire yet, although I want to. Men of a Certain Age isn't really in my wheelhouse. And Treme, I've heard good things, but I don't know. Nothing stands out for me. Have you guys checked out any of those other ones?
I watch Boardwalk Empire. It is not a Sopranos replacement, but it is good mobster television set in the 1920s in Atlantic City. It has historical characters as the leads, but I don't know how much historical fact takes place. It's just stories told with those people.
Right.
But it's cool. It's good TV. It's not. It didn't blow me away. It was a little slow getting going, but I haven't watched the finale yet, which I heard was really, really good. So I tell you, a lot of times the first season of a show, I'm like, it's all right, it's getting there. They're kind of spinning their wheels a little bit, and then the finale really kicks butt, and that's what leads me, gets me all ramped up for the second season, which is exactly what happened with Justified, actually.
Yeah, that had a good finale as well. Our third and final bit of news before we get into the interview and all that kind of stuff, we have confirmation, I guess, now for the DVD date. You want to tell us about that, John?
Yes, March 8th is officially the release date for the Blu-ray and DVD set. It is verified right now on Amazon.com. And we did want to mention that if you're planning on pre-ordering those sets, or if you're ordering any DVDs from Amazon, we have an Amazon link on WalkingDeadTV.com. And if you can go to Amazon through our link, that helps us out a lot. They give us a tiny, tiny percentage for the advertising that we're doing for Amazon. So if you guys are going to order the Walking Dead set or any other set anyway, if you could go to the website via Walking Dead TV, that would really help us out with our expenses for the show. It's a lot easier for people to do it that way than to donate. I understand money is tight for everyone. So if you want to help us out without really feeling it, you can just go to Amazon through Walking Dead TV by using the link, and we get a tiny, tiny little portion of what you buy from Amazon.
Right on. And of course, we don't want to forget our sponsors, DCBService.com. If you are interested in picking up the trade paperbacks of the book, if you're interested in picking up the single issues that are going to be releasing soon, if you're interested in picking up the 12-issue books, the 24-issue collections, or the 48-issue collections of The Walking Dead, if you like the show, haven't read the book, but want to, check out DCBService.com. That's our sponsor. And right there, you can get those books on deep discounts, and you can get a special extra discount if you enter the code in WD8 when you go to checkout. So check out DCBService.com, get all your Walking Dead stuff, check out some of the other great comics they have there, and you can get a special discount on top of their already great discount by mentioning that you listen to the show. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And for anybody who's, on Twitter, I'm noticing a lot of people now that they've gotten through the first season, they can't believe they have to wait 10 months for next season to start up. So they're thinking of, curing their itch by starting up on the comics. It's not even close. Don't go to Borders or Barnes & Noble and pay, $15 for every trade or, $30 for the hardcover. I think it might be $60 for the compendium. I mean, DCB Service is going to get you 35 to 40% off on every book. You put in the WD8, you're going to get an extra 8%, and you're going to save a ton of money. Trust us, we do the comic book thing, and that's the way to go.
And if you like The Walking Dead and you finish that up, it's about 80 issues right now, so that'll take a little while, but you can also check out Robert Kirkman, the writer of The Walking Dead's Invincible, is going to be on there, and check out, like I said, there's tons of great comics. I'm a big fan of Lock and Key right now from IDW. Anything that's out there, you're going to be able to get it from DCBS and at a great discount.
Well, Jim, we have talked enough for the time being. Would you like to go through some of our new iTunes reviews from the last time we recorded?
Well, when I'm on the air with silver-tongued devils like you, I like to let you elocute. Yes, we have some really awesome iTunes reviews, as always, from some of our wonderful listeners, including Dr. Mirage, who gives us 5 out of 5 entertainmos. I'm not sure what an entertainmo is, but I think that's pretty good.
I believe it's Latin.
Fair enough. Then we also got awesome podcasts from SA7 Fire. They write that they really like the podcast for the TV show. They haven't read comics for about 7 years now, and this series actually got me back into reading them again. So welcome back to the fold, our friend. Deadpool fan also gives us 5 stars and says, "This is a podcast." I have to say this is one of my top podcast shows I enjoy. 5 out of 5 stars. Now run, walkers.
Very nice.
I love tautological statements in our reviews.
This is a podcast.
This is the most
Is
recent logical statement I've made today.
Is that a shout out to Marcel Duchamp? Anyway, okay, I'm a little too off the room right now. And we got the Milford, giving us 4 out of 5 stars. I'm a newbie to The Walking Dead, now a hardcore fan. I've watched all 6 episodes in the span of a few days on my iPhone, and I can honestly say this is my favorite show ever. Well, thanks a lot, Milford. We are really enjoying it as well. And then finally, we got grade A, 5 out of 5 stars from Killing Mitchell. Thank the gods, this podcast is epic. By far the best Walking Dead podcast out there. I don't know anyone who's a fan of the show or comic, and it's nice to listen to your guys' outlook and honest opinions on the show, especially since you have a lot of knowledge on the subject. Looking forward to season 2 and more podcasts. And so are we. And then finally, Killing Mitchell asks, brains?
I gotta say, I feel sorry for Mitchell being killed and all that. I don't know what he did deserve it.
Well, that's awesome. Once again, the iTunes reviews are fantastic. They help get us noticed and put on front pages and spotlighted in iTunes, which is great for the show. We are somewhere in the neighborhood of 82 iTunes reviews, and I'm going to say about 450 Twitter followers. And when the Twitter hits 500, we're going to give away a Walking Dead hardcover. And when the iTunes reviews hits 100, we're going to give away a Walking Dead hardcover. And we're going to throw all the people who are involved in that into the pot to pick our winner. So that'll be a good way to... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for people who aren't familiar, that's 12 issues of the comic, right, in the hardcover?
Yeah, the hardcovers are 2 of the trade paperbacks, and they're in a bigger, nicer format. So you get kind of like a bookshelf book with double the issues that are in the trades. So it's a really nice book and present and prize and everything else.
So if you'd like to be in the running, don't forget to follow at WDTV Podcast on Twitter.
For sure. And while we're talking about giveaways, last week, Harley Big Daddy was lucky enough to win a Volume 1 trade paperback of The Walking Dead. And we're going to do it again this week. Basically, the idea is I took a list of people that mentioned on Twitter that they have not started reading, but they want to. And these are also people who had left us an iTunes review, and I compiled a cross-section list of those people. And this week it's going to be Jim, because Jordan, I believe, picked Harley Big Daddy. So I didn't redo the list, Jim. So give me a number between 1 and 13, but do not pick number 3.
8.
8 is Valkyrie Kick. I'm going to say I've spoken to him many times on Twitter. I think I pronounce it wrong every time. It's Valkyrie and then CIC at the end. Could be Valkyrie Chick, Valkyrie Kick, Valkyrie Sick. You are the winner of a Walking Dead trade paperback. Send WD TV Podcast a direct message on Twitter, and we will get that book out to you. Congratulations. We are the show that keeps on giving. All right, so the big stuff now. We were able to interview Mr. Norman Reedus. He's most famous for the Boondock Saints, until The Walking Dead, of course, and that has a huge cult following, that movie. We've mentioned the Norman Reedus fans on Twitter before, and the Boondock Betties, and all of these rabid fans who are really cool, and they definitely kind of migrated over to our show when he was announced to be on it and stuff, which is great. Just to give a little of the backstory, Colleen, who is Bum Bum Girl on Twitter and has been following us from the beginning, and she's a great contributor, she actually pointed me towards a lady by the name of Wendy Shepard, who is kind of the media agent for Norman Reedus, and was able to give me her contact information. I contacted Wendy. Wendy was awesome. She got right to Norman. He's a very cool guy, as you'll find out in a little while. He was all up for talking to us. We even had like a little bit of scheduling issue last minute. I was able to get to Wendy via email. She answered me right back, cleared it up for us. Awesome. So we really want to thank Colleen. We really want to thank Wendy. And of course, we want to thank Mr. Reedus. And I was not able to be there until the very end of the interview, but you guys were both there. Do you want to say a couple words before we let that roll?
Well, I just want to say that he spoke to us as he was walking around Chinatown in New York, as you'll hear in the interview. You also hear police sirens occasionally in the background, and sometimes a little bit of crowd noise. He said his whole house is full of relatives for the holidays. So the only way he could get away to talk to us is by walking down the street. So I just wanted to say that as a little preface before we run it.
Yeah, it's the most action-packed interview we've had.
Chinese food cops.
But yeah, he was really cool. It was really awesome. We talked to him real laid back and down-earth guy, so really, really cool.
Yeah, and like we said, we're really excited to be able to have this because he is he has a very intense fan base, and they were really psyched to have him on the show. They were up for Vatos when it was announced that would be his first show, and there was like a live internet chat thing, which I think you guys get into in the interview, where he was in the room with the fans while the show aired and stuff. So really good stuff, and we hope all of them, in thanks for following us in turn, we hope that they enjoy this. So I'm going to let that roll now. Here is our interview with Norman Reedus.
All right, welcome to the brand new episode of Walking Dead TV Podcast. This is Jordan. I've got with me Brad, Jim, and we're joined tonight by a very special guest, Mr. Norman Reedus. So welcome to the show, Mr. Reedus.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Brad, I think you had the first question, right?
Yeah, well, obviously for us, being fans of The Walking Dead and the comic, we wanted to know if you ever even heard of the comic before. Had you had any exposure to this story before the TV show?
I have. There's a lot of Boondock Saints stuff that come out in comic books. I started going to comic book stores. There's one right next to a movie theater here in New York that I go to quite a bit. And I would see the artwork for The Walking Dead, but I didn't really know how in depth the characters got and so forth. And I started getting into it once I got the job. And I got pretty far, but I just decided not to follow up on it because the television show is so much different than the comic book, and it moves in and out of the storyline so much. And it's kind of nice, being on set and not knowing exactly what's about to happen in 3 episodes from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. In fact, all of us have read the book, and that's why obviously we're big fans of it. But I think all of us at one point have said, I wish we haven't read this book because a lot of times we'll spend the whole hour trying to guess what's going to happen next. And I would personally sometimes would like to just be able to sit there and and just be surprised.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, since if you guys are really into the comic book, what's it like to watch the show? Do you guys get pissed off, or are you enjoying the different storyline?
Oh, I think we're really enjoying it. I mean, it's the familiar characters that we know from the comic, but it's definitely a divergent storyline. I think it's the best of both worlds really for us as fans.
Oh, good. I know Robert Kirkman's really into the idea that we're not staying strictly onto the comic book because I think that would be boring for people. When the comic has such a large following, I think it'd be boring for them to know exactly what's about to happen, or when it's about to happen.
Of course. Now, Mr. Reedus, on the subject of the differences between the comic and the book, your character is a brand new character brought around just for the show. I'm always curious, as an actor, do you find it more liberating to be able to start from scratch, or would you prefer a character to base yourself on from the book?
I've never been a comic book character. I mean, a comic book character I think would be easier to portray than a real person. You know what I mean? Real people, there's so many critics about, doesn't look like him. That's the first one you get, and so forth. But comic books, I think you can get a vibe of the comic book. There's not a voice to imitate. There's not a manner in which they walk, or there's just there's just an energy from what's on the page and the illustrations. So I think a comic book would be kind of they both give you a lot of freedom to do what you think that comic book, what you think that character would do. You know.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And something I wanted to ask you is, you've had, I mean, The Walking Dead has been a huge success. You've gotten a lot of ratings, you've gotten a lot of viewers, and going against the normal trend or whatever, you've gotten even more viewers as the episodes have gone on. When did you start to realize that this was going to be as big as it was?
You know, I remember going to, like, I live in New York, but going to LA for a pilot season. It's my first pilot season, and I read a bunch of pilots, and I was like, this is the only pilot that's awesome, and I would kill to get in this pilot. It's so far ahead of all the other ones, and I knew that it would be a special thing, you know, especially with Frank and Gale, and I knew Greg Nicotero was involved, and I knew his work, and I thought it would be really big while we were doing it, but I didn't expect it to be this big, and I mean, I get stops like all the time now. It's funny because my son, I picked him up from school today. I walked over to West Village and got him, and he was just beaming, and I said, what's up? Why are you smiling? He goes, some of the big 8th graders came up to me today, and they go, is your name Mingus? And he said, yeah, and they go, your dad's our favorite character on The Walking Dead. Tell him we love this character. And my son was just beaming. I was like, well, that's a good day, you know?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We have a couple of guys that couldn't be, they're on our show, but they couldn't be here tonight, and they wanted us to pass on their regrets. One of the guys, his name's Johnny M. He turned me on to your Boondock Saints movie, and honestly, I only watched it last night for the first time ever. And again, honestly, the only reason I watched it is because we were going to talk to you tonight. And now I'm kicking myself for not ever having watched this movie before because I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. You know, that movie didn't come to the theater, so it was Columbine shooting. And, you know, we had trench coats and shotguns and all things. Just the timing of it, nobody would touch that film after that. And, you know, the idea was, you know, we would sit on it for a year or keep running with it. And, you know, the producers at that time just went for money and just sent it for the video. So, you know, we all kind of got boned on that one. But it's really because that one sort of became like a people's movie. It was just, you know, passed on from friend to friend. It became this big cult hit. So, you know, as much as I get stopped for Boondock Saints, I'm starting to stop for Walking Dead. So, you know, it's cool.
Well, talking about the Boondock Saints and also your character in The Walking Dead, something I've always wondered, especially with your character Daryl, did you have to do any like special weapons training or anything with the crossbow or with the weapons that you use in the show, or is that just done with the effects?
Well, I mean, they had really good prop guys with all the guns, you know, pickaxes and swinging around and stuff. So the stunt guys are really good on that, and the special effects, the weapons guys are really good. But a lot of the, whenever you shoot the crossbows, you have to dry fire. You can't shoot it because it's, you know, that hurts. So, you know, they taught me how to shoot it, you know, the proper way to use it, run with it, and everything else. But, you know, you can't shoot arrows on set. They'll flip.
I know that every time I pulled up a new episode, I always wondered in what manner was Daryl going to dispose of a zombie this episode. And I got to say, in the finale, you got Zombie Kill of the Week for the axe swing.
Right? Wasn't that cool? They gave me two, and I had them in one in each hand, and I was going to just watch out with, you know, one hand and whack them. And I was like, you know what, let's put together. Let's do a baseball swing and just shot the head off. And they were like, yeah. So I'm trying to come up with new ways to kill people. Also in that last episode, I came up with the shoot the crossbow, use the crossbow as a prop, put the shotgun on the crossbow, shoot the shotgun. And so I was kind of having fun with those weapons.
Do they give you a lot of freedom as the actors to do the action stuff like that, or is it most of the time it's pretty scripted out?
No, they give us a lot of freedom. You know, they're really cool about working with the actors, and you know, the energy on set is what do you got? So I think all the actors, you know, it's done from speaking for everybody. I think everybody feels like they have a lot of creativity and a lot of freedom, and you know, it makes it for a lot of fun. And the enthusiasm on set is so high. Everyone really loves what we're doing. So they kind of, you know, if it's a certain shot, like, you know, an arrow has to hit them between the eyes and it's got to stick in the wall behind them, like, you know, they're pretty specific. It's a special effect.
Right, definitely. One question we thought up when we were getting together earlier today was you play the brother of Michael Rooker's character in the show, but you never actually are on screen at the same time. Did you get to meet Mr. Rooker behind the scenes and work with him at all, or were they shot completely different times?
Well, you know, I came in and met everybody literally right after I walked out of the woods and did the green cut off this part of the deer. And I remember looking up at everybody, and they were looking at me like I was just a total idiot. But right after that, you know, I met everybody. But they gave me Michael's tapes from before, so I could just sort of listen to his voice and just sort of, you know, see what he was about. I remember when they told me Michael Rooker was playing my brother. The Henry Portrait of the Circle was one of my favorite movies of all time, and I was just so over the moon that I was little Rooker. But you know, I got to hang with him while we were doing you know, the third episode. And actually, he's looking like a good friend of mine. I'm super happy I know him.
Cool, that's very cool. You know, we've touched on the fact that Daryl is not in the comic. I think, if memory serves, I read an interview where Robert Kirkman said that Daryl is one of his favorite characters, and he really wishes he had put him in the book. And I know you probably have heard several people say, and you know, obviously from reading the book, that absolutely anything can happen in this book. And that is just a nice way of saying, just because you're a main character doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be around a while. But
I've heard Robert joking that he's going to kill Andy off. I mean, it's a total joke, I'm sure. He's the bread and butter. He's the meat that holds it together. But you know, Comic-Con in New York, they sort of hinted that it's possible I might be in the comic book coming up. But I got my fingers crossed. I'd love that. That'd be such a dream.
That really would be cool to see Daryl in the book, yeah. And you know, there's been times in the comic when we've not been really 100% sure that Rick was going to make it to the next page.
Yeah, I like how they do that. You know, it's like I like how they keep you on your toes with everything. You know, with Emma going out right away, she's such a lovable girl and such a lovable character. And you know, I mean, as much as I hate to see her go, it's interesting to see like anybody can go in a minute. I think it really keeps people on their toes. And you know, it really looks like Shane about to shoot him in the woods when that happens. And I know how Shane does that in the comic book. And I don't know, it's super interesting. It keeps us on our toes when we get a script. And everyone flips really quick to see if they die first. We kind of have a joke on set. There's there's a zombie school in Atlanta. We have a joke on set that if you get an email saying check out www.zombieschool.com, you're probably on your way out.
We understand that you like to do a lot of fan outreach to your fans on Twitter and things like that. Can you tell us a little bit about the live chat room you're in during your debut on Vatos and your reaction to your on-screen debut there? That
was crazy. That screen was just a constant stream roll down. I was struggling to read as fast as I could, but it was literally impossible to just read one line without having to pause the page. I was blown away by the amount of people that wrote in and are loving the show. It feels really good. You know, I'm very fortunate to be a part of something like this. And when people reach out and tell me they like it, it's a huge smile on my face. It just makes me want to work harder.
One thing we talked about with Irony Singleton when we had him on the show was Shane's pants. Do you have any comments about the fact that Shane pulls his pants up way too high in the show?
You know, I heard that. You know, Shane's a good-looking dude. You know, John Bristol's a good dude. He's a good-looking guy. He can probably get away with it. You know, I wear squirrels around my neck, but I'm going to tell you. You know, if you're talking about fashion, I don't think Daryl has too much to say about the fashion. But you know, John's a good-looking dude. He can do whatever he wants. You know, and I kind of, you know, if you wear certain boots, you walk a certain way. If you wear your pants a certain way, you walk a certain way. You know, maybe that's a choice. You know what I'm saying?
True. Good point.
Norman, do you have any information about season 2? Like, have you been contacted? Hey, we want you to stick around for season 2, or do you know when it's going to start shooting or anything like that?
You know, I've heard some rumors when it's start shooting. I'm not totally positive. You know, I couldn't tell you for sure when we're going to start. I don't know. I wish I knew. I'm about to just go on a plane and go and wait for everybody to show up because I kind of miss everybody.
Hey, let me ask you this. Why do you think Merle cut through his hand instead of, not the handcuffs, but like one of the pipes that the handcuffs were on?
I've heard that. And I've heard, why didn't you just thumb off and just slip his hand through? But I don't know. It's, I don't think it's as gruesome to just see a finger there. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Daryl would flip up scream like a baby if it was just a finger. It's funny because I heard that Michael wanted to leave the hand with like the middle finger up, wait for everyone to come back.
That seems like a very Merle thing to do.
It's a very Rooker thing to do. Is what that is.
Absolutely. Well, since everything for second season is up in the air right now, what would you like to see happen to Daryl in the next season? Where would you like to see his character go?
It's interesting. Around the end of the fourth episode, fifth episode, like there became like this little trifecta. Like when something would go down in the camp and we were shooting a scene, both Rick and Shane would look to Daryl, and Daryl would look at them. There was like this interesting triangle of okay, you ready? Okay, you ready? This is what we're gonna do. They were looking at me. I guess it just came naturally. It wasn't really scripted like that, but it sort of came naturally that they're sort of allowing Daryl to not be such of an outsider. And you think about it, like, you got a kid like Daryl who grows up with an older brother like Michael, or with Merle. I mean, like the kid's got to have a major chip on his shoulder. He's probably always trying to be just like his big brother. His big brother's bigger than him, so he's got to try to be as tough as him. He's probably been slapped around a billion times. When I got there, I wanted to just add a bunch of tattoos because it's like little dogs that bark loud. So I was trying to make it seem like I'm as tough as possible to everybody who's looking. But I don't know. I think there's something about Daryl that he wants to fit in a little bit. I imagine just Merle and Daryl were all by themselves. Even before this went down. So maybe he's sort of finding a family. Maybe he's getting be accepted. Maybe he's going to take on some more leader type roles. I know whoever's holding the gun in a situation like this probably has the most power. And since the three of us holding the gun, maybe there's a little bit of equal power. But so far what we've been doing is Daryl's been even going out there looking for Merle. It's like, let's go look for Merle. Let's look for the van. No, let's look for the van first. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. It's not really my say. But then again, when we find a hand, I'm the first one walking off looking. So maybe he'll have a little bit more of a leadership role. Maybe he'll have a little Brokeback Mountain love with Glenn or something. I don't know.
As we move on into season 2, what do you think Merle's reaction will be, or how do you think Merle's going to react once he and Daryl meet back up? Is it going to be a peaceful reunion, or do you think things could get pretty hairy pretty quick?
Well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting because it's not Daryl's fault Merle was left up there. It was and it's Merle looking for Daryl, so it's not like he's betrayed Merle. But I think when Merle comes back pissed, there's going to be a part of Daryl that wants to protect these people because he has a soft spot for these people too. So I think Merle and Daryl are going to probably, I don't know, man. I'm not even sure. They're going to duke it out, or one's going to go one way, two are going to walk this way. I'm not sure what's going to go down, but I think it'll be pretty hairy.
That wouldn't be a very fair fight if they were to duke it out now. You with 2 hands and Merle with 1.
He's a big dude. I don't know, man. He's probably kicking the guy.
Hey, Norman, we added another one of our cast. His name is John. Say hi, John.
Hi, I'm sorry, I had it muted.
John wanted to be here. He was the one that helped us set up our time with you, and we appreciate his efforts, and you're doing this. But I just wanted to at least let John be able to say hi to you.
Hey, John.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm walking around Chinatown in freezing New York right now.
You're the best. And I don't know what the guys have covered, and I don't want to repeat anything, but I just want to tell you that you have the coolest hardcore fan base that totally found us on Twitter and followed you over to the Walking Dead TV show, and then adopted our podcast, and they've just been really awesome.
No, I have the best legion of Boondock Betties and fans and bitches and people, and they're all awesome, and they've always been super cool to me. I say bitches because there's a Boondock Bitches Brigade. I'm not, Yeah, no, I got to really throw a shout out to all the people that have been supporting me and stuff on Twitter and all those thingies because they've all been really, really awesome. There's been a few psychos, but 99.99% of them have been just insanely great.
Thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Reese. I hope you get some like that, some nice hot and sour soup there in Chinatown to warm you up.
Happy holidays, too, man.
Yeah, happy holidays, guys.
Thank you, sir. We're looking forward to next year.
You guys are cool. Me too, man. I'm ready right now. I'll come to play.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time today, sir, and have a good holiday.
Yeah, you too, guys.
Good night.
All right, good night.
Okay, so once again, we cannot thank Mr. Reedus enough, and Wendy Shepard and Colleen for helping us set that up. That was really cool. I mean, he's just like a regular. You know what came? What I was thinking of. He sounds like every part that he plays. Like just kind of like wild man, flying by the seat of his pants, having a lot of fun with life, and it comes through that that's really the person that he is.
He was pretty thoughtful too, though. I mean, when we asked him about where he thought his character might be going in the next season, he actually had a lot of thought behind that. He really thought about where Daryl would be headed in his relation to his brother and everything else. So I thought that was cool too. That he really got in depth and into the character of Daryl.
Yeah, hopefully this will lead to giant things for him, or more giant things for him, I should say. I mean, hopefully he's on The Walking Dead for a long time, and I don't know how much time that allows him for other projects, but hopefully this will make him even bigger name than he is now.
I also liked how he talked about how they were able to ad-lib some of the zombie attacks, especially the one at the end of TS19, where he talked about whipping the axe on. Hey, as I'm running by, why don't I just do this? And it ended up in the show. So
yeah, that stuff is like fascinating to me. Obviously we don't want to take too much of the people's time that we get to interview. I mean, but there's a million questions you can ask about all that stuff, and that's the kind of stuff I love on like DVD commentaries, which you don't get enough of. The actor just sitting there on a commentary and explaining how things went down.
Absolutely.
Okay, so once again, we'll be back next week for our final weekly show. We will wrap up Season 1. We'll wrap up TS19. We're going to get to all of your voicemails and emails and any tweets that you might have left, and we will let you all know how the off-season is going to go and what we have planned. Again, please stay subscribed during the off-season. It helps, with our iTunes numbers and stuff that we still have a lot of people subscribed, and we have a lot of these interviews on the horizon, hopefully. Like I said, we got some great contacts, and we're hoping to have more of them. So hang in there with us in the off-season, and you might get some cool surprises along the way.
Plus, we'll have more giveaways, more features, and a lot of other cool surprises coming down the pike. So, like John said, keep the feed going.
I guess to wrap things up, once again, we'll tell you that our voicemail is 516-468-7912. Leave us a voicemail about TS19 or Season 1 in general, or anything else you might want to say or ask. We have the email, which is comments@walkingdeadtv.com. You can, of course, find us at the forumforgeeks.com. It's forum, F-O-R, geeks.com. We have the Walking Dead Network there, where you can find forums for many Walking Dead podcasts, as well as ours. There are forums for everything geek, TV, video games, movies, music, sports, anything that you can obsess about, we have at the Forum for Geeks, so please check that out.
And I got a question on Twitter today. Someone saying, hey, I love talking about the show, but I'd also like to talk about the Walking Dead comic. Is there a place to do that on Forum for Geeks? Yes, there is. If you scroll down pretty much right below the Walking Dead Podcast Network, you'll have the comics forum, and there's a Walking Dead comic thread right there where you can discuss the books as you read them with the books you get from the DCB service.
Yeah, I think there's actually a spoiler one and a non-spoiler one, because some people don't like to accidentally read about an issue that they might not have gotten to yet, but there are